and they encourage you to go deep, and you hate them for it. Yeah, I know, me too. My trainer does it too, I hate him so much. The most important thing is what you've got to remember is your back works in many ways. So for example, it works when you're squatting and you're down like this, your back works to get you out of end range hip flexion. So this is end range hip flexion here. Your back only works from here to here. Your quads do the rest. So if you're just squatting to here, your glutes aren't doing very much. Okay? Your glutes didn't work when you actually get right down here. So they get you out of the hole. So getting that last little bit is really important. If you're struggling to get that deep, it's generally because your ankles are quite tight. From wearing high heels, rolling your ankles over the heels. That's the first place that I look in somebody. If they can't squat butt to floor, is it because their ankles are very tight? If your ankles are very tight, it means you've got to get some mobility work in there. So you've got to stretch your calves, you've got to stretch the front here, which is to the anterior, you've got to stretch that too. It's really important. Okay? And also use the legs, which basically means you need to stretch your legs straight like this, and you've got to also stretch it with your knee bent. Okay? So the legs is more of a stabilized muscle. It sits underneath your calf muscle, but it does tend to get really, really tight. The second thing is if you still can't squat butt to floor, then we're going to have to start looking at the hips. Okay? Now it may be that your glutes are so sleepy that they can't actually hold you at the bottom, so they won't let you squat down. That's okay. Now, what we do then is, I'm talking about lots of trainers here, what we'll do then is basically get you squatting into a box, doing more of a hip break rather than a knee break. Or doing a goblet squat rather than a back squat or front squat. So a goblet squat is much easier because it's soften and easy to drop into the hole, rather than trying to do a full limb squat, which is obviously preferable. So what you can then do is, like I said, looking at the hips, making sure that you've got nice range of movement, meaning you want to stretch out your glutes as well, and also stretch the front of your hips too. Okay, so lots of mobility drills. Make sure that you're nice and warm before you go into a deep squat. The other thing that's really important when you're squatting is making sure that you've got a really tight back. A lot of girls don't tend to get enough tension, so you've got to remember that you can't fire a cannon from a clip. So whenever you're doing any sort of lift, if you've got an energy leak somewhere in your body, you're never going to be strong. So when you're doing a deadlift, for example, making sure that you've got a good grip on the bar before you lift, making sure you're driving through your heels. Same goes when you're squatting. So when you come under the bar, you come up and it's only too easy. If you've got like 30, 40 kilos on the bar, it's only too easy to just let it rest on the back. This is axial loading, which means that the weight's coming down through your spine. It's very, very easy to just stand there for ages with it. Same with Zuko. It's really easy to just stand with it. Now, that's dangerous, especially when you're carrying that thing. Has everyone had a go on this? Okay, it's horrible. So it can be very dangerous if you just stand there, because you can't actually stand there and relax underneath because the weight's passing basically right through your spine. Now, the problem is that you're moving with that. So if you're not braced underneath it and you're not getting a tight grip and activating your lats on it, what that means is that you can have basically a slight move forward, backwards, or laterally, and that can basically tear one of your discs in your back, basically from your neck all the way down, which is why it's really important when you're squatting, nice and tight. The other thing is that your lats join your glutes via some fascia down the middle of your back. Okay, so to activate this fascia, so fascia is basically like, think of it as like a bag over a muscle, although they found out that fascia actually integrates into the muscle as well. But it's like a bag over your muscle. So basically, like, you know, I'm trying to think, you know, on chickens sometimes you see that, like that clear film, you can kind of pull it off. That's basically fascia. Or so it's basically with your fascia, it comes down your back here. So to activate your lats, it pulls tight on the fascia, which then activates your glutes. Okay, so little things like this are really important to think about.